Hello, my name is James Seunghyun Kim, Senior Manager at the National Information Society Agency, Open Data and Big Data Analytics team. In this session, I'll introduce policies for the database administration of Korea and a few best practices of public big data analytics. Today, I'm going to introduce Korea's database administration policies, which is the next big step toward digital and intelligent government. Korea always rank high in terms of open government data in the OECD index. The government's strong emphasis on open government data and its utilization has enabled Korea to develop a data-based administration policy. Solid legal background, powerful government data infrastructure through the establishment of data platforms, and active engagement with the government data analytics are the core strategies for data-driven government. The objective of the lecture is to have a look at database administration strategies and the progress of the Korean government. The lecture will introduce why the Korean government has focused on the utilization of open government data and how it directly affected and developed data-based public administration. The contents of the lecture are the following. First, I'll briefly go over the importance of the open government data. Then I will discuss on what is database policy and database administration that the Korean government is currently pursuing. Finally, I wrap up with some of the best practices of public big data analytics. So to begin with, I'll briefly introduce the open government data. Before I get to the details of the database administration, I want to go briefly go over the area of specialty of our organization. As an ICT specialized agency in Korea, NIA has been focusing on DNA, which are data, network, artificial intelligence, and the following digital inclusion. We believe these features are some of the most important factors for the data driven society. Our organization first initiated with the purpose of computerization of the paper based administration system. And we have expanded our expertise starting from spreading high speed network infrastructure to data analysis and artificial intelligence. Today, NIA has stretched its accomplishment to the field of open government data or the public big data, thus pursuing database administration policies for the Korean government. So, data is the primary resource in modern economy. The senior vice president of Gartner's Operation Committee, Peter Sondergaard, emphasized that the information is the oil of the 21st century. So, why is open government data so important? Open government data refers to data created and retained or collected by the government, municipal organization, and public organizations that can be available to the citizen under certain conditions. To understand the database administration of Korea, we first have to go through the legal background. In 1996, the Information Disclosure Act was released to ensure people's rights to know and to promote people's participation in governance for a transparent government. However, when a citizen wanted certain information, it was released based on demand or per request, which often becomes a complicated and time consuming administration process. With the enactment of Open Data Act in 2013, all government bodies and public organizations are obligated to provide government data, enabling anyone to readily use public data with exceptions such as personal information, national security, business confidentiality, intellectual properties, and etc. A major improvement is that Open Big Data is a ready to go system rather than an on demand system. And the scope of Open Big Data applies to all central, local government, and public institutions. In addition, in 2020, the government enacted the Act for Promoting Data-Based Public Administration to promote the use of public big data in the public administration system. If you want to know more about the details of the Act on the promotion of data-based administration, you can visit law.go.kr, change to the English version of the web, and go to Korea Law Information Center and search for Act on the Promotion of Data-Based Administration. From there, you can read the details of the law. So here is our definition of public big data. We define public big data as a combination of four features, which are variety, velocity, volume, and value. As we already know, the importance of big data has been emphasized not only by the private sector, but also by the public sector. The Korean government strongly focuses on the interactive cycle of collecting and distributing government data. With the public big data, our government establishes data-oriented, data-based public policies and develop efficient and practical public services. The Korean government has established a core infrastructure, a big data platform to promote big data analytics since 2013. More and more data analytical projects has been explored and promoted starting from 2015 and onwards. Every year and up to today, several analyses has been taken covering different topics and issues tightly related to public services. The topics of analytics are either chosen by the experts in the related field or by public administrators wanting to solve the current ongoing issue. And since 2016, we have initiated a project called Standard Analytics Model, which is deploying a standardized version of the few most practical big data analytics projects. We disseminated the models in all government sectors, especially in local municipal governments, and frequently referring to the standardized models for convenient data-oriented decision making. Currently, we have established a total of 44 different standard analytics models. In the most recent development, NIA has established three standard analytics models in the field of public infrastructure, agriculture, and environment. We're also conducting a practical training in data analytics for public administrators since 2016 and onwards to foster public big data professionals and promote data-based decision making. Now that we have observed the importance of open government data, let us explore data-based policy and data-based administration of Korea. So why is data-based policy necessary? Well, public administrators working at different levels of government and providing public services, they occasionally encounter issues shown on this slide. These are some of the most commonly asked questions. To actively promote data-based policy, the government of Korea has first established a national government data infrastructure, shown on this slide. The National Open and Intelligent Data Platform lets the government to collect the data, share the data, and provide data analytics services. This diagram shows the to-be model of the National Intelligent Data Platform. So our strategies for promoting data-based administration are the following. First, we need to have a solid legal background to support the promotion of government data utilization. Second, we need to effectively manage a large volume of quality government data, possibly with the powerful data management system, shown on this slide. Then, we have established a big data analysis infrastructure to promote big data analysis modeling in the area of transportation, housing, healthcare, and more, which directly affect people's daily lives. In this chapter, I would like to share some of the best practices of public big data analytics. Here, I will share some of the best practices. The first big data analysis case is the installation of surveillance cameras in the city. We have analyzed complaints on lacking streetlights, security systems, then collected data such as location of crime prevention centers and frequency of neighborhood patrol, number of floating populations nearby, the number of school zones, and the density of households. In addition, we were able to add crime data from the National Police Department to point out insecure areas by indexes and heat maps. After a thorough analysis with multi-layers in Geographic Information System, as known as GIS, we have identified blind spots of surveillance and have designated the area to install additional surveillance cameras. This slide shows the analysis in an infographics form. Here you can prioritize the areas to install surveillance cameras after the analysis by looking at the correlation between crime rates and surveillance. The black dots on the map imply surveillance cameras distributions, and the green dots along the roads imply security lights distribution. The green dots are here, black dots are the ones here. In addition, population characteristics and density are displayed on the map together. According to this GIS approach, we can identify the vulnerable places such as no surveillance, no security lights, a large proportion of single-person households, and high female population. Thus, we can prioritize the areas requiring the closed-circuit surveillance cameras installation. The Golden Time Secure model was established to improve the dispatch of ambulances and fire trucks. Through the model, we have reduced the time required for dispatch and arrival at a destination to 7 minutes for fire and 5 minutes for a medical emergency like cardiac arrest. The old and traditional dispatch system simply places emergency vehicles at nearby fire stations and hospitals. After the analysis, the exact number of hourly moving speed deviation in an urban area are observed and made sure to locate the timely vulnerable areas that require emergency calls. Hence, we can select the optimum location of emergency vehicles on a timely basis and vulnerability. Digging into more detail, we have the map on the left, which shows traffic levels in two different time frames. Obviously, in the early morning at 3 a.m., traffic level is very low. But during the rush hour at 7 p.m., traffic is very high on many sections of the road. In this case, it is difficult to dispatch emergency vehicles on time. So, the vehicles can be allocated based on high traffic time and the area of more vulnerability or frequency. The image on the right shows the heat map for an area of emergency patients concentrated. And another image shows the area for the possible dispatch of emergency vehicles in a certain time frame. If we overlap these two images, we can check that some areas have emergency patients concentrated, but the vehicles are not available for dispatch that can arrive at the site on time. So based on this analysis, we can construct a new fire station or allocate vehicles to cover the area that are missing. Once again, establishing legal backbone, data management infrastructure, and implementing various analytics projects through the construction of Big Data Analytics Center are our key strategies for efficient data-driven governance. This is the end of the lecture. Thank you very much for listening.